who has spent more than 5 years in jail without any trial under UAPA, that is anti-terror law. The US has now stepped into India's internal debate, with the American lawmakers now flagging the arrest of Umar Khalid. The Congress party, on the other hand, has latched on to this, backing the US lawmakers' push and saying that their demands should be fulfilled and bail should be granted to Umar Khalid. The party insisted that bail is the rule, not the exception, saying that there is a bias against Muslim and Dalit community in India. Have a look.
If 8 senators and congressmen of America are asking what is happening in India and that why the bail is not being granted to Omar Khalid and others who had been detained, it's going to have a very, very massive global impact. And I do support that what congressmen and senators have asked. It's a denial of their human rights, and bails are rule, not exception. But in case of Dalit, Muslim, or those who are targeted, it becomes exception, not rule.
All right, so 8 lawmakers have written a letter urging bail for Umar Khalid. Remember, he was arrested in 2020 and he was the main accused as far as the Delhi riots case is concerned. But back in India, in fact, the Congress party has said that they are backing the move of the US lawmakers, demanding bail for Umar Khalid. For more on this, let me go across to my colleague Bhavtosh, who's been tracking all the details. Bhavtosh, as we know, as far as Umar Khalid is concerned, he was arrested in 2020. He was the main accused as far as the Delhi riots case is concerned. But keeping that aside, a letter has been written by 8 US lawmakers. Take us through the details and what does it state?
Well, this letter has been written by 8 US lawmakers, and the letter, in fact, has asked Indian government and asking that immediately Omar Khalid should be released on bail. His bail hearing had taken place in the Supreme Court, and that order has been reserved by the Supreme Court. As far as the law is concerned, he has got adequate representation before the Indian various courts, whether it is the trial court or for that matter in the High Court as well as in the Supreme Court. The prosecution on its part has always opposed his being released on the bail. Having said that, whenever he has asked for an anticipatory bail or a parole, he has always managed to get that. The prosecution has said that he is involved in the larger conspiracy, stating that Omar Khalid and other accused, whether it's Sharjeel Imam, had conspired to carry out these riots that had taken place in February 2020, in which they have said that at least 55 people had died. And importantly, they have booked him under the UAPA, which is the anti-terror law. And in fact, the last time when the hearing took place, the state, that is the public prosecutor, had claimed that there was an attempt by Omar Khalid and other for a regime change. This was vehemently denied by Omar Khalid's counsel, saying that this was not mentioned in the charge sheet that has been filed by the Delhi police. Till 2021, this was not mentioned. But US lawmakers have also said that when they visited India, they have met the family members of Omar Khalid, something which the MEA has to answer as to why this happened and how did this happen. Was the prior permission of India was taken before this meeting took place?
Stay on with us, Bhavtosh. Not just the 8 US lawmakers, New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani has also written a letter to former JNU student Umar Khalid. In fact, he is currently lodged in Delhi's Tihar jail. Now, in this handwritten note which has gone viral on social media, Mamdani has reflected on the previous interaction with Khalid and expressed solidarity with him. He has said, and I quote, and that is what has been written in this letter: "Dear Umar, I think of your words on bitterness often and the importance of not letting it consume oneself. It was pleasure to meet your parents." And he went on to say that we all are thinking of you is something Zoran Mamdani has mentioned on social media. So not just Zoran Mamdani, 8 other lawmakers have also, in fact, written as far as bail to Umar Khalid is concerned. And that is something that the Congress party has also backed. We have more breaking news coming in. As far as the Indian American Muslim Council is concerned, we are learning that they have welcomed this powerful letter by the 8 lawmakers. They have mentioned that the Indian American Muslim Council today welcomed a powerful letter from 8 US members of Congress to the Indian ambassador. The letter calls for immediate granting of bail to Umar Khalid and other Muslim activists who have been languishing in jail for the last 5 years on bogus and politically motivated charges related to 2020 Delhi riots. The letter and these are the names of the representatives who have written the letter, 8 lawmakers. They highlight the shocking misuse of UAPA to suppress peaceful dissent and target religious minorities. So this is what they're saying, that Umar Khalid and other Muslim activists were arrested in a bid to suppress peaceful dissent and target religious minorities in the country. The lawmakers expressed grave concern over the prolonged pre-trial detention of the student leader and activists including Omar Khalid, Sharjul Imam, Gulfisha Fatima, Khalid Saifi and others, noting that their continued incarceration may be linked to religious identity as Muslim and their exercise of protected rights. And this is what, in fact, the Indian American Muslim Council, IAMC, has written, welcoming the letter that the 8 US lawmakers have written. But we must also talk about how controversial, in fact, this council is. But we'll come to that. For more on this, let me go across to BJP spokesperson Shehzad Poonawalla. Thanks so much for connecting with us. A letter has been written not just by the US lawmakers, but also by Zoran Mamdani, who took oath as the mayor yesterday. But what is important here is to highlight that IAMC, that is Indian American Muslim Council, has welcomed this letter. But the point is that this organization is very controversial. Your take on this?
Can you have a very bad network or a very bad line? Can you hear me? Then I can make my comment.
Please go on.
Look, first of all, India has a free and fair independent judiciary. So we need no lectures from anybody about how our judiciary functions. Our judiciary gives bail when it thinks it is appropriate. Our judiciary will deny bail or deny relief to those whom it feels have serious charges on them. And we have seen how this particular accused, Umar Khalid, how his team has been withdrawing the petitions in front of Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of India had also alluded to it in the earlier period. But having said that, this IAMC, this jihadi supporting group, this Pakistani group, it should be the last person to be interfering into our affairs. And I would also request very humbly that those who have been elected to some positions in New York to handle the garbage and the civic problems of New York, they should stick to that. They should stick to handling the garbage issues of New York. They should not get into Indian democracy. Anyways, we don't need their lectures. Their lectures can be kept for how to handle the garbage situation in New York.
All right. Thanks so much for connecting with us. I'm also joined by Patikrit Pen, who's in fact, foreign affairs policy expert. Thanks so much for connecting with us. How do you look at this letter, not just one, but multiple that has been written as far as US is concerned, one by Zoran Mamdani and another by, in fact, 8 US lawmakers. India, on the other hand, the BJP here saying that we do not need lecture as far as minorities in the country are concerned. Your take on this?
Well, first of all, Umar Khalid is not being denied any trial. He has some of the best lawyers of the country fighting and taking over his case, dealing with his case. So if he is not being granted bail, then it is purely based on the merit of the case. I don't think the Americans have any locus standi on interfering and commenting what India should do, because the Americans themselves, the American lawmakers, many of them are Democrats. They should themselves introspect what kind of things they have done in countries like Syria, Libya, Iraq, and Afghanistan. This entire tendency that the Americans will comment and everyone else will have to oblige, I think that has to go. These are pressure tactics deliberately being done. If we go back to the history of how the Americans have treated suspects, terror suspects, and those who were responsible or alleged to be responsible for threatening the sovereignty of the United States, then we can go back to what was being done in Guantanamo Bay and several other black sites of CIA where in the detention camps where detainees were from across several Muslim countries were kept. So they should introspect instead of telling us what we should do. But I think these kind of pressure tactics are only going to grow in the future as India becomes a bigger economy, because this is the way Americans actually behave. They do something and they preach something entirely opposite. Back to you.
Absolutely. So it appears to be a pressure tactic on behalf of US. Thanks so much for bringing your perspective on this. We told you about IAMC, that is India American Muslim Council, and how they have welcomed the quote-unquote the powerful letter, as they quote, that has been written by the 8 US lawmakers, and not just them but also by Zoran Mamdani. Let's tell you more about why IAMC is controversial. It was founded in 2002 after the Gujarat riots, accused of anti-India campaigning, anti-India posts on social media as well. They have links to radical groups, and this is what the government of India time and again has been saying. They've been flagged numerous times on social media for the misleading posts, and earlier as well, government had called its claim completely biased and politically motivated as well. Former Union Minister, in fact, former Minority Affairs Minister M.A. Naqvi had flagged the terror links. He had said, and I quote, IAMC linked to ISI of Pakistan and also SIMI, a banned organization. They, in fact, used to propagate anti-Modi and anti-India bashing, and that is why it was formed after 2002 Gujarat riots, and that is why it remains to be very controversial. For more on this, let me go back to my colleague Bhavtosh, who's been tracking all the details. Bhavtosh, take us through why IAMC, in fact, it is the organization that has now come to the fore and has welcomed the letter written by the 8 lawmakers, how it is controversial.
Well, it's a very controversial organization as far as IMC is concerned. They have been a known anti-India baiter and lobbyist in America, and they have always campaigned against any topic which is anti-India. Now, in 2021, there was an FIR that was filed against them in Tripura, in which the Tripura police had said that the communal riots that broke out in Tripura had happened primarily because of certain posts that were put out by IMC. The Twitter handle has also been blocked in India primarily because of the various posts that were put out by them. And the government at that point of time had told X that their posts are communal in nature, and in fact they had propagated certain topics which were communal and also had caused a lot of bigotry. Now, IMC had members of IMC also include Ghulam Fai, who has been investigated by the National Investigation Agency and also by the state police. We all know Ghulam Fai has links with ISI. Now, as soon as this post had come out by the US lawmakers and the letter was put out by US lawmakers, as you rightly said, that the first organization that in fact endorsed that letter was IMC. They in fact had welcomed this letter, and they had also, over a period of 4 to 5 years, they've been asking that Umar Khalid should immediately be released from the prison. As many of our panelists have also said, that Omar Khalid has got fair representation before several courts. Now, importantly, what the prosecution has said in Supreme Court also is that that he has in fact, his bail has been rejected by the court, and the courts have at various point of time have mentioned that why his bail has been rejected. And also the prosecution has also said that Omar Khalid culpability as far as the riots have been concerned have been proven in the charge sheet, and they have also said that Omar Khalid's role has been mentioned in the charge sheet. Well, he has in fact availed the legal representation, and the hearing, the Supreme Court is expected to give its order next week. And importantly, they have also said that there is a campaign that is launched in international press whenever this matter is coming up before the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. Stay on with us, Bhavtosh. In fact, let's tell our viewers about 2 letters that have been written by, first one by 8 lawmakers of the United States and another by New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani. He has written a letter to former JNU student and activist Umar Khalid, who's currently lodged in Tihar jail under UAPA, that is anti-terror charges. Now, in that handwritten note that has gone viral on social media, Mamdani has reflected on a previous interaction with Khalid and expressed solidarity with him. He has said, and I quote in that letter, "Dear Umar, I think of your words on bitterness often and the importance of not letting it consume oneself. It was a pleasure to meet your parents," he has said, also adding that we all are thinking of you. Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party back here in the country has objected to the letter written by Mamdani and the 8 lawmakers, asking US to not lecture India as far as minorities are concerned. But on the other hand, a reaction has come in from the Congress party, and they have in fact said that bail should be given to Umar Khalid. Let me once again go back to my colleague Baptosh, who's been tracking all the details. Baptosh, we are learning that a letter has also written by Zoran Mamdani. Remember, he took oath as the mayor of New York yesterday. He has also written in that letter that we all are thinking of you. Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party is saying that this is in a way a pressure tactic and interference as far as internal matter of the country is concerned.
Yes, Akasha, and this issue has been also addressed by the public prosecutor in the trial court. In fact, Amit Prasad, the special public prosecutor, had raised this issue both in the trial court as well as in the High Court. He has mentioned that whenever there is an important hearing that will be coming up before the courts, and also when there is an important order that is coming up before the trial court, these kinds of, one can say, according to the prosecution, manufactured or orchestrated campaigns are launched. And this time around, what they have said that an international campaign is being launched against him. Though having said that, defense counsels have always denied this. They have always said that Omar Khalid is quote unquote a political prisoner. And we have seen in past also there is a campaign that is generally carried out on, at least on social media. The courts on its part have always said that they are unaffected by this. They are not influenced by various media reports. The Supreme Court has reserved its order last month itself, and one is hoping that the order would be coming up by next week itself. One has to wait and see what will happen in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court on its part had given a long hearing as far as this case is concerned. The defense continues to maintain that since charges have not been framed, the trial has not started. Omar Khalid and others should be released on bail as far as this case is concerned.
Absolutely. So many are saying that before the crucial hearing in the courts, this in a way is a pressure tactic that is being used by the United States as far as Umar Khalid is concerned. Thanks so much, Baptosh, for giving us all those details. Now let's take you through the letter that Zoran Mamdani has written to Umar Khalid. And this is a letter that has gone viral on social media. It goes on to state, "Dear Umar, I think of your words on bitterness often and the importance of not letting it consume oneself. It was a pleasure to meet your parents. We all are thinking of you," is what he has written, and it has also been signed by him. Now, this letter has gone viral on social media and something that has been tweeted by the close friends of Umar Khalid as well. Not just this letter, in fact, another letter has been written by 8 US lawmakers as far as bail to Umar Khalid is concerned, urging the Indian courts to take cognizance of that and release Umar Khalid on bail. Now, let's take you through how this has snowballed into political controversy back in the country. BJP is saying that ahead of the crucial hearing in courts, in fact, this is in a way a pressure tactic that is being used by the US. Congress, on the other hand, is in fact saying that yes, bail should be granted to Umar Khalid. Now, moving